Hey guys,
We're
Tim and Amanda from Travel Fit.
This week's video is all about Tim's injury. So he's had a bit of calf problems. I'm just going to go through and talk about what he's been doing with that.
Unfortunately, training all the time comes with a cost, so this is the reality of what it takes to be a triathlete. Compression socks is another thing I'm doing. It's quite cold today. I'm about to go for a run, and these just keep everything nice and tight, is the theory. So my goal or my plan is to wear these because I'm up to 15 minutes running now, so from here on I think I'm going to wear them, and then for probably a couple of hours after too, which helps reduce swelling, I believe. I put my elastic laces in because these are my everything shoe now, so I'm going to train and race in these. So you can just slip them on without having to muck around with the shoelaces. Hey guys, so make sure you give us the thumbs up. If you hate us and what we're doing, make sure you subscribe. If you never want to see us again, make sure you press notifications. I want to talk about my journey of calf injury. It's now June 2019, and in July 2017 I was running one day, as I always have for the last 40 or so years, and I had this sudden pain in the back of my leg, in my calf, and I worked out later I'd torn it, and that was my first calf injury. So it's been next month 2 years. 2 years that I've been suffering these injuries. I've actually torn them 11 times. The same side twice in a row, other times it goes back and forth. So I've been to certain experts, and more so I've researched everything I can. And I feel like I'm somewhat of an expert at it. I've tried different things over that time, but I'm going to go back to Christmas last year, Christmas Day. So that's the 25th of December, of course, 2018. After a 9-week rest of no running from my previous injury, I started running on Christmas Day. I ran 5 minutes, and what I did was I progressed by 5 minutes every run. So I went 5, next run 10, and I kept going till I got up to an hour. Now the problem with that I now see is I progressed too quickly. So in a period of probably a month I was running an hour. And I was training for the Coffs Harbour Triathlon, and the Wednesday before it, which happened to be the 25th of February, so exactly 2 months to the day, I was about 50 minutes into my long run, and I tore my calf. So to say I was frustrated was an understatement. So I was pulling my hair out. I was lost what to do. I put certain cries for help out on Facebook, and people gave me their advice, and I saw a physio, and I did everything I could think of to try to fix it. I almost gave up, actually. I thought, well, maybe my days are done as a runner, as a triathlete, which breaks my heart because I love triathlon. But at some point you have to almost accept. So I again took a long period of time off, and we did the Julia Creek Triathlon, which is in one of our videos. And the period from injuring it to Julia Creek, I think, was 6 or 7 weeks. I did no running, but I did do the triathlon. So it was a 5k run, and I got through the run, but probably in the last kilometre I was starting to feel it getting tight and a little bit sore, and that was the start of tearing it again. So I did try to run on the treadmill maybe a week later, and about 4 or 5 minutes in, no, the pain was there, so I couldn't. So this brings me to now. So I took 8 weeks off again. Rest, I believe, is the best thing you can do when you tear it. You shouldn't even think about running until there's zero pain. So I took 8 weeks off. And what I'm doing this time round is I started at 5 minutes running, and I'm going to do 3 runs a week of 5 minutes, which I have done, and then 3 runs a week of 10 minutes. And this morning was my first 15-minute run. So this week I'm going to do 3 15-minute runs, 20, 25, and 30. Now 30 is going to be as far as I run, because what I found out was up to 40 minutes and above is when I felt like I was injuring it. So I'm going to pull the pin at 30 minutes, and I find I can actually do speed work. I never really had any problems doing speed. It was always distance. So once I've done a week or two of 30 minutes running, I will start to introduce a little bit of speed work again. So that brings me to my next point, which is racing and triathlon. And so I've made the decision I'm only going to do up to sprint distance triathlon, which is a 750 swim, a 20k bike, but most importantly only a 5k run. So that's going to be as far as I go, and that suits me because I actually really like that distance. So 5k is under 30 minutes. Also the off-road tries, same deal. So they often have a 5 kilometre run. So on or off-road, that's going to be my limit. The other thing I've started doing this time round is massage, and thankfully Amanda's doing that for me. And what I researched was you build up scar tissue. So when you run and injure it and tear it, when it repairs itself, there's scar tissue there, and you need to break that down. So what Amanda does is get right into that scar tissue when she can feel it. There's 2 ways she can feel it. A, I scream, and B, there's often a lump there. So she gets stuck into that and tries to break up that scar tissue, and I find that's really working. I also, when I'm driving, just get my thumbs in and find the sore bits and just push on it, both sides. I do a lot of driving with my job, so it's an easy thing to do. And the third thing I do is I roll on a ball. So I roll my calves on the ball on the ground. So those 3 is something new I'm doing. Going back to before I started running in December, what I was doing was calf raises, a lot of calf raises. The physio suggested that. So I got to the point where I was doing 30 one-legged calf raises, and I was doing that every second day, and I didn't miss that for about 8-9 weeks. Upon research, some suggest that could be helpful, and other people suggest it's probably a waste of time. So I've actually stopped that. I tried that, I re-injured it. I feel that my calves are strong, they just tear. So I'm no longer doing calf raises. So this time round, to summarise, 30 minutes maximum. My progression up to 30 minutes is much slower. So giving myself 6 weeks before I run 30 minutes. And massage, lots of deep tissue massage to try to break up that scar tissue. Okay, so the other thing I do is, I'm a heel striker. I did try to become more of a forefoot when I place my foot when I run, but I've been running the way I run forever, and so I've accepted I'm a heel striker. The other thing I do is I pronate, which means I roll in. There's 2 things I've always done when I've run. So probably 8-9 years ago, I went through this phase where I thought I was going to become a barefoot runner or run in a more minimal shoe. So I stupidly went to these Vibram 5-finger. Now, they're a great shoe for someone who can run in them. They're super lightweight, and obviously they've got the area where all your toes go in. And they have a little bit of rubber so you don't cut your feet, but that's it. They're very, very minimal. They're the most minimal shoe you can get. And basically, I couldn't run in them. So from there, I went to something that was a 0 drop. So what I mean when you talk about drop is the distance between the heel and the forefoot. So there's rubber here, but it's the same the whole way through. So there's no drop. It's what they call a 0 drop shoe. This particular shoe is a Ultra, and I'm about to throw these away. I've taken the elastic laces out of them. And again, not good for me. Through research also, I found that maybe suggestions are that if you constantly tear your calves, that you're better having a high heel drop. That's what I've actually gone back to. So that's another thing I've done that's different. So I did these, I tried these. This is another pair. This is a 6 mil drop. So although it looks quite high in the heel, you sit quite deep in this shoe. This one I think is a New Balance, but it's only 6 mil between the heel and the forefoot. And again, I just couldn't handle it. I come down hard on the heel and it was just putting stress on my calves. So I have spent millions of dollars on shoes in the last 2 years. And again, I just bought another pair. So what I've gone to is something that feels like a brick. And when I run in it, it actually feels like I've zip tied a pair of bricks to my feet. But structurally, there's nothing better. So these are Mizuno. I don't know what model it is, but between the heel and the forefoot, it's 12 mil. So this is similar to a shoe I used to run in 20 years ago. In fact, all shoes used to be like this. That zero drop didn't exist back then, as far as I know. So it's very structural. And if you look here, this plastic section, they call this a wave something. But what that does is, because I want to roll in, it supports me. So because I pronate, this shoe's perfect for me. So we've got a 12 mil drop and we've got a lot of support for when I pronate. So this is what I've gone back to. And I've been running for 3 weeks and so far, so good. 20 minutes, all done. This is my journey. This is what's worked and hasn't worked for me. It's going to be different for everybody. If you're watching this, maybe there's something you can take from it. And I'm forever learning, so future will tell.